Let's see. Hello. Hi, how you doing?
Doing good for August 12th.
Oh, I know. I hear you. I'm letting people in as we go. I see Kyle. I don't know who Kyle's iPad is, so I wonder.
An interested constituent.
Maybe. Yeah. All right.
Your hair is almost as long as mine.
It's getting long. I know.
Yeah.
Kyle, who are you?
Oh, hi, I'm just a resident.
Oh,
Just a
I'm like,
resident.
I don't know who Kyle is. Nice to meet you, Kyle. Where are you at? Where are you at? The city, township, or Douglas?
19 Washington Street.
In Douglas?
Douglas.
Ah, very good. Cool.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. I didn't really need to know any more than that, other than I'm being chatty.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, Kyle, I think I met you in the early spring.
Yeah, I think we did meet.
Hi, Rana.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Hi, Rana.
Hi.
We'll see if I can get everybody in here. And, see if I can share my screen somewhere. We go. I'm learning so much with this technology. So, isn't it all? Hello, everybody. We'll give everyone a few minutes to get in. Nice view there, Barry.
Nice day to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing the chime to the top of the hour.
Mm-hmm. You can hear it through my headphones, huh?
Is that at your house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Ken Freestone. How you doing?
Hey, Garnet. Good. How are you?
Very good.
Good.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
It has been a long time, hasn't it?
It has.
After almost daily calls for a while there, it was.
Well, while we're waiting for everybody, you'll be happy to know that the Alvin County Health Department inspection is occurring as we speak.
Oh, lovely.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
So,
Great.
yeah, well, I went and lit a little candle as a good Catholic, and one of my interns slept with a pillow or a spoon underneath her pillow. We were.
Okay, what is the spoon under the pillow? I'm not sure.
I guess it's like a form of good luck.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
I've never heard of it either. She says, I'll put a spoon under my pillow. Okay, sure. Sounds
Whatever it
good.
takes. I sleep with an ukulele under my pillow.
Yeah.
Let's see. So is Daniel with us yet?
I am here.
Daniel is, does Rosemary have the link? Do you know?
I sent her everything that we have, so she does have the link.
Okay.
And I actually see her
Oh,
on
here
the
she
call.
is. Yeah,
Hello.
hi, how are
Hi.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Let's see. I'm gonna see who we might be missing. I saw Kathy, Linda. Do I see Linda? Linda always has a little bit of trouble joining. All right, let's give it another minute and then we'll get started. Here we go.
Hey, Garn.
Yes, who is that?
Hey, Garn. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I am still actually Rich. We're kind
Okay.
of walking around, so I'm gonna be listening in, but that's all.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Very
Skylar
good.
has a one.
Hi, Skylar.
Hello.
All right. Let me send Linda a note real quick and see if I can help her out. Okay. Oops, that didn't work. All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have a guest and then we have another one joining us. I've tried to the best of my ability to get this screen shared so folks can see the agenda. So with that, I'll just call it to order. A quick roll call. Johnson?
Here.
Escott? DeFranco?
Here.
Epstein? Mark? Mark? Nope. Stewart?
Here.
Alexander?
Here.
North? I know she's here. Tyrion?
Here.
Lewis. All right, we have a quorum. Here's Linda. Let me get her in. Hi, Linda. If you all could do me a favor and just mute so that our background noise is limited, that would be great. So with that, we'll move on to public comment. Anyone who's listening in that would like to comment, please feel free. You have 3 minutes. Anyone? Just give me a shout. Nope. All right, very good. We'll move on. Real quick, gang, I'm going to apologize. I haven't, just with everything that's going on with our business venture, I have minutes, if you will, draft minutes, but just didn't have a chance to finalize them and get them to you. Basically, as you'll recall, our last meeting was with Republic Services and the 2 reps. So it was a summary of that conversation. Skylar, our intern with Isabel, did a really good job of summarizing those comments. And Barry also had contributed his notes as well. So stay tuned for those, and I'll try to do a better job of getting minutes to you in the future. I know Kathy had volunteered to take minutes early on, and if she's willing to do that and use the recordings from these meetings, that would be really helpful. So since she's walking,
I can do that.
Oh,
I
good.
can do that.
I was taking advantage of the fact that you were busy.
No, I'll do that off of the recording. I can't do it right now, but I'll do it off of the recording.
All right, very good. A willing victim. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sneaky Garn.
Oh, I know. Okay, with that, we'll move on. Daniel, do you want to take it from here and introduce our guest?
Sure. Yeah, I'm very excited to have Rosemary Graham on board. She is the director of the Allegan County Resource Recovery and Recycling Program. After our conversation with Republic, and Republic insinuated that they once had a contract with the township just for recycling, Griffin and I did a little research, and we figured out that what they were referring to was Saugatuck Township's previous participation in the resource recovery and recycling program. And I got in contact with Rosemary. She is a wealth of knowledge, especially as it was pertaining to household hazardous waste, which I think that she'll tell you that is the #1 issue that folks in our area call her about, how to dispose of household hazardous waste. She gave me a ton of great ideas about how we could put on programs and potential educational opportunities to expand upon perhaps getting folks those kinds of services. But I would like to hand it over to Rosemary, who can tell us a lot more about that. But thank you so much, Rosemary, for joining us.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you. And thanks for having me, inviting me to your meeting today. So Daniel did provide me with some questions before the meeting that some of the members had. Do you want me to start by kind of going over those questions, or is there something else you want me to start
Nope,
discussing?
that's perfect start.
Okay.
Perfect start.
So I received 4 questions from Daniel, so I'm just going to go through each one of those. The first question from one of your members was, my understanding is that Douglas doesn't participate in the hazardous waste program due to the additional per household fee. Can you outline how often other communities use their services so we can get our councils an idea of the potential gain versus cost? So I took that question to kind of just be asking what kind of costs the participants in the resource recovery program pay for household hazardous waste on an annual basis. And I do want to point out that for household hazardous waste, as part of the Allegan County Resource Recovery Program is really dependent upon participation. So we have 18 municipalities that are part of this service program. And depending upon how many residents from each one of those municipalities use the service, it kind of impacts what they pay per year. So the more they use it, the more those municipalities pay into that service. And I would say that on the low end, it's just a few $100s per year. But on the high end, those communities that have very high usage, it's several $1,000s per year. But a good average would be roughly $1,000 to $2,000 per year as they are participating in the resource recovery program. And I did want to point out that one municipality does participate in just household hazardous waste collection only. They're not part of the resource recovery program, and that they don't collect the recycling surcharge on winter property taxes like other municipalities in the program do. They have a special agreement with the county just for household hazardous waste collection. And the way that agreement is structured is that they pay an administrative fee to the county annually for the county to administer the program. And then they pay based upon residential usage. And so I record whenever I have an appointment where that resident is coming from. And then once they arrive, we have a structure to record how much they're bringing in. We don't weigh everything because that can become a bit cumbersome, and my scale is different than the household hazardous waste vendor scale, and so numbers may not always be exactly one-to-one matchup, but we use what would be called a household equivalent unit, which is approximately the size of a small box or small banker's box. Most people bring their household hazardous waste in boxes. And so we just kind of go off of that, or about 5 gallon, what might fit into a 5 gallon bucket. And so if residents bring more than that, they have multiple household equivalent units. And then once the household hazardous waste vendor collects the household hazardous waste from our facility, which they do 4 to 5 times a year, they would send us an invoice. And then based upon those usage levels, we would break that invoice out, and each one of those municipalities would pay for the amount of usage that their residents had brought in. And that particular municipality that just participates in household hazardous waste collection, they have the administrative fee, and then the annual usage, residence usage, is around $2,500 a year. But that fluctuates. This year it's been a little less. So, and they also have a stipulation that their residents can participate in our regional collection events. So we have a household hazardous waste regional collection events. And we also have our electronic vendors on site at those household hazardous waste regional events. And so that particular municipality is also willing to pay for electronics that are dropped off by their residents on those particular days. And so we have 3 of those each year. The other option would be to host something with drug and lab disposal. That would be, my recommendation. They're local. They're in Allegan County, located in Plainwell. That's who our household hazardous waste vendor is. And they will come out and set up and do like a 1-day household hazardous waste collection event in the municipality. And there are some municipalities in the county that already do that with drug and lab disposal. And that would be outside of the county program. And then drug and lab would just invoice the municipalities directly. And then you'd have to kind of discuss that with drug and lab to get their cost structure. But in a shared environment, you know, I could foresee each municipality just kind of keeping track how many people from the township, how many people from the city, how many people from Douglas showed up, and then, you know, sharing the cost of that service or that event in that way. And so in the second question, and do you want me to stop if there are any additional questions after I've explained everything?
Yeah, why don't you go through Daniel's questions, then I've got a few
Okay.
questions for you that are
All right.
really almost preliminary. So please
Okay.
continue.
So the second question that I received was, what kind of education programs do you have for communities in Allegan County? And so I am a one-person department for the entire county, so I wear many hats. Education is one of those hats. I don't probably have as much time to put towards education as I would like, but I do maintain a recycling page on the county website with recycling information and household hazardous waste information. Each municipality that participates in the resource recovery program receives an annual newsletter that I put together for them. And so I kind of have a format that I create for them, and we tweak it and add things that pertain to that specific municipality. I also have some recycling guides that I've created for the program and for the county, and those are adjusted. Recycling is constantly in flux. Recently, you know, we're no longer able to collect plastic bags, and so those guides are updated periodically. And then I'm available Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 to provide customer service and answer questions from residents regarding recycling and household hazardous waste services. And the third question, are you currently recycling glass? If so, where do you take it for recycling? If not, are there any prospects for glass recycling on the horizon? And so the resource recovery program is completely structured through contracts with recycling haulers and recycling service providers. And currently, all of those agreements do include glass for recycling. So all of our haulers and recycling providers are accepting glass for recycling. And the fourth question, if a municipality wanted to become a member of the County Resource Recovery and Recycling Program, in addition to the $50 yearly cost paid by residents, what other costs might be incurred by the municipality? And so there's really two avenues with the recycling surcharge. If a municipal board or council votes, they can vote to place up to $25 on each each person's property tax. And that is discretionary, which means that someone could opt out and to say they didn't want to pay it. Whereas the $50, if once it's a board by the Allegan County Board of Commissioners and the appropriate paperwork's filed with the Allegan County Clerk, the proposal can be placed on the ballot, which just happened recently here for the August primary. And so that was set at $50. And once that's voted and approved, all residents that have that placed on their property tax according to the household unit definition, which I can provide to the group if you're interested in that, they are required to pay that. There's no opt-outs. So once it's voted in, there's no opt-outs. And what would happen then is placed on the winter property tax and collected by the municipalities. Then it's transferred to the county treasurer and placed into individual municipal recycling surcharge accounts. And so each participating governmental unit maintains a revenue account and an expenditure account with the Allegan Resource Recovery Program. And so if revenue exceeds expenditures, then that additional revenue is carried over to the next year. But if expenditures exceed revenue, then the county invoices the municipality for the difference. And those were the 4 questions. So I can take any additional questions.
So this is Garnett. I'm going to jump in real quick before I forget. And I'm going to work backwards. So the last question about membership, and you say this slower again. There's something that's coming up on the ballot. Did you say?
So yes, it was on the August 4th primary. 8 municipalities in the county submitted the paperwork with the clerk to place the recycling surcharge on their ballots at the rate of $50. And that did pass in all 8 of those municipalities. It was previously $36. And due to increased costs, we saw an increase in that.
Do you mind telling
voters,
me where
and
that
it
was?
approved.
Do you mind telling me where that was? Do you happen to know?
I do. Let me go through my list here. It was in Gunplain Township, Heath Township, Hopkins Township, Layton Township, Martin Township, Monterey Township,
Okay.
Otsego Township, and Wayland City, the city. of
Okay.
Wayland.
And you said you'd be willing to share that information with us?
You would like a list of where it was recently approved?
No, I'd actually like the ballot language is what I'd
Oh,
like.
you'd like ballot language? Yep.
If I could, just so we have it, what it looks like and what that entails. And then my second was your third question that Daniel had. And again, slow down a little bit for me. Are you currently recycling glass? And you said that's all your contracts are completely structured with independent haulers, and all those haulers are taking glass? Is that what you said?
They are accepting glass, yep, for reuse or for recycling. And
Do you mind telling me who those haulers are?
Yeah, so the majority of our haulers for curbside and drop sites are with Republic, and we do work
Really?
with the Republic offices. Well, we work with the Republic offices out of Holland, out of Jenison, and out of Kalamazoo. So we have all 3 offices that kind of surround Allegan.
Can I quote you on that?
Hey,
Are they
Garnet,
not
Yeah.
offering
Yeah,
to collect
this is
glass
Ken,
from you?
Hold
it
on.
sounds like everybody's going to jump up and down and wave their arms at this one with their glass
No, I'm
recycling.
just
that's
incredulous. Yeah.
I know. That's just it.
Well, I think there's a difference. They're picking up glass. The question is Republic recycling it? And we're told the Republic isn't recycling it.
Yeah, this has come up in the past, and the last time it came up was quite a few months ago. And Republic said that they were trying to recycle it if they had outlets, and that they would, update me if that changed. But glass is something that I certainly need to circle back around with Republic, especially now that Harry Rattinger is departing and Jack Brown is taking over his position, to kind of reassess that. Glass could be something that might not be accepted for recycling, or might become something that's being reused in some other way. But that is one that is difficult because of the cost usually to transport the glass, and needing to find a market outlet for that. And with recycling, I think finding a market outlet for a lot of different materials is increasingly difficult.
Yeah, Ken, I see you raised your hand. Go for it. Ken, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on there.
Rosemary,
There you go.
yeah, I actually work for the city of Holland, and although I am not in the recycling department, I work with that department regularly. And in our newest contract with the Republic, they are not taking glass at all.
Yeah.
And we've been told that by Republic for months now, that they're not recycling glass. And we're now telling all residents that we're not recycling glass. So, and it's interesting. I just heard from someone on the neighborhood app just the other day that Aero Waste is, but Republic isn't. And so it's really super, super confusing right now for everybody.
Yeah, and I think for this program in particular, it would become even more confusing because I have 3 different MRFs that I'm working with. And so each MRF collects their own specific list of materials. And Aero Waste is probably taking their collection to the Kent County Recycling and Education Center, which does accept glass, whereas Republic up in the northwest portion of the county is utilizing their MRF at Republic of Holland. And then I also have municipalities in the southeast part of the county that are out of Republic of Kalamazoo office, and they haul all of their recycling to a MRF down in Elkhart, Indiana, which is accepting glass. So yeah, it becomes a little bit complicated when different MRFs are doing different things, especially within the same, area. of
I see.
yeah.
I think Demetria had her hand next. Sorry, guys, and then I know Rana. Please.
Yeah, Rosemary, this is Demetria. I wanted to just touch on the costs that you mentioned, just so that I get a good understanding of this. So if a municipality wanted to join in with the Allegan program, it would be an administrative cost, a one-time administrative cost, and then there'd be $1,000 to a $2,000 charge yearly, depending on the number of residents from that municipality that participates.
Yeah, I would keep in mind that household hazardous waste is charged based upon its weight, and that fee is going to be shared because we're collecting from multiple municipalities. So the more household hazardous waste that our program accepts from a particular municipality, the more expense that municipality will incur. So there's full participation with the recycling surcharge placed on residents' winter property taxes, and those municipalities are paying an annual administrative fee for the entire program, and then charge the additional cost associated with household hazardous waste usage by their residents. We have one municipality in the county, and it's Overijssel Township. They just contract with us for household hazardous waste, and they pay that annual administrative fee. And I can tell you what that basic structure is. It's the total number of households multiplied by $1.24. So annually they provide us with an administrative fee that equals whatever their total household in the municipality is multiplied by $1.24. And then as their residents bring household hazardous waste throughout the year, I record that. And when those invoices come, the county pays that on behalf of Overijssel, but then we invoice them for whatever those fees were. And that can be, it can be anywhere from a few $100s if Overijssel residents aren't utilizing the program very much, which this year they seem to be utilizing it a bit less. But it's been higher. Last year it was around $2,500 that the residents used the service.
So if more municipalities opt into the Allegan program, it doesn't necessarily lower costs. It's just a continuation of the program. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And my other question, I'll have to get back to you.
Hold that thought. Well, Rana's got her hand up, so let's let Rana go, and maybe it'll jog your memory.
Hi, I've got a two-part question. One of them is, so for the hazardous waste, I just wanted to get a better understanding. One of them is that there's hazardous waste, and one of them is recycling. And so if we were to opt in, are those two different levels? Is that two different services? Or once you opt into hazardous waste, then you have the option to also include the recycles? So for instance, if we were part of it, could I bring my glass, assuming that it actually was being recycled, could I bring that to a facility as well under that same contract, or those are two separate pieces?
They are separate. So if the municipality was structured the way Overijssel was, it would be just household hazardous waste. If the municipality included the recycling surcharge on residents' individual winter property taxes, then it would open up to all of those services. And as far as glass collection in particular, right now, the majority of our municipalities either have a drop site located at their township hall or have curbside either in the city or the townships. And we would have to work with Republic. I'm assuming being able to recycle glass would probably remain difficult because the MRF in Holland, it sounds like, is moving towards not accepting glass at that MRF. Whereas the MRF in Kent County is accepting glass and the MRF in Elkhart, Indiana is accepting glass. So potentially if accepting glass was something that was, you know, kind of a requirement for the municipality, I have heard of municipalities, you know, requiring that in their contract and being willing to pay those additional fees for transportation. And that would be transportation rather than to the Holland MRF, to the Kent County MRF, or transportation rather than to the Holland MRF down to Elkhart, Indiana. And so it would be the willingness to pay those additional fees if Republic would agree to that in order to recycle glass. Otherwise, glass would probably still be off the table in that municipality if it was going to Republic of Holland, just because it's the MRF that it's going to. That makes sense.
Okay, and then my other question was, if we had throughout our, like you're saying, if we all combined like a regional collection event of some kind, then is that a one-time service that you offer, or is that you have to be part, you have to do like with an administration fee, or is that something that you have to sign on general to do that?
Yeah, so the one-time collections really would be kind of on your own as a group. I wouldn't necessarily be involved. I mean, I might be able to structure something to assist at first, but it's pretty simple and straightforward. I mean, you could reach out to Drug and Lab Disposal, have a discussion. I can provide the contact that I have at Drug and Lab Disposal, and then they would provide you with a cost structure. There's usually a flat rate to come and set up, and then there's a weight or a rate based upon how much hazardous waste is collected, and then you just identify who is going to receive the invoice and how it was going to be split and paid. I mean, there's some logistics in there. Drug and Lab Disposal usually sends anywhere from 2 on up of their employees, so they can basically handle the entire collection. As the municipalities might just be responsible for having someone keeping track of where the residents are coming from. So like at my events, I just walk up to each vehicle, the residents stay in their vehicle, I ask for their name and their address. I used to take their driver's licenses. Now with COVID, we try to do a no-touch system. So sometimes I look at their driver's license, but for the most part, I just take their word. When they rattle off their address, we write it down. Sometimes, I'll collect a phone number, and then I use that as sort of a tally at the end of the collection to see where everyone came from for sharing the bill. And then a couple of volunteers to help with traffic control. Because we have people from all over. I mean, I've had tractors show up with their bucket full of hazardous waste drive through. I have people show up with boats on trailers because they're on their way to the lake, but they wanted to stop at the collection event. And so traffic is an issue. I would definitely recommend, if you hold one of these events, kind of plan for that and plan for enough volunteers to help direct traffic.
Okay.
Demetria, did you remember your question?
Yeah, I finally did. So, Rosemary, my question had to do with so how do you manage businesses? Is it the same approach?
So we actually do not include businesses in the county's program. And that is because the recycling surcharge that's collected is placed on residential property taxes. It's not placed on a business's property taxes. And what we've found is that potentially businesses could utilize the recycling program in a way that they are taking up much more and generating much more of an expense than that $50 that we're able to place on property taxes. So we found that it would kind of be burdensome to individual property owners and residents that were paying that fee to then support businesses. So it's a residential program that we have, and businesses then contract directly with a recycling hauler.
All right, very good. All right, any last questions for our guest?
I have one.
Yeah.
I know, Rosemary, that you said that there isn't necessarily a benefit to the individual townships. Like if more townships join the program, like your costs wouldn't go down. But I'm just interested from your perspective, like, do you see a benefit for the program itself if more townships come aboard, and if we push this for our township? Do you see a benefit in that way? If I went to Saugatuck Township and said, we really should do this, how would you make your argument from your perspective?
Yeah. So the administrative fee doesn't change if one of the municipalities wanted to do the household hazardous waste only. It's still the household count times $1.24, unless the Board of Commissioners decides to change that. If we do have more municipalities join the resource recovery program, then that would lower the administrative cost because that's shared, and there is a calculation that the board uses. And so as more municipalities join, that does decrease slightly each year. So there is a benefit to that. I think, the main benefit of the resource recovery program is just having a dedicated person available to your residents Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. There are a lot of people at, the township level or in cities, your focus is on something else and it's not always recycling. You might be there for general questions day to day, but just having someone to direct those questions to, a dedicated person to be able to handle that. I also work with our haulers to draft requests for proposals, review the bids, we draft agreements, renew those agreements, and everything's reviewed by the municipalities, but it kind of takes some of that administrative burden off of the municipalities. Also planning for those recycling events and running those events for the municipalities. So that we're just taking some of the recycling time and burden off of the municipalities and taking it on at the county level.
Thank you. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And I wanted to add one thing. We are going to issue a press release at some point this month. There is a recycling opportunity. It is not through the resource recovery program, but we are certainly supporting it. Broken Arrow Recycling in Allegan, they're located at 1100 Lincoln Road, has recently partnered with Pratt Industries. Pratt is a paper recycler, and Broken Arrow is planning on accepting paper and cardboard from businesses and from residents in an unlimited quantity. And so if there's a business that may be paying for their paper or cardboard recycling currently, if they can haul that to Broken Arrow Recycling, Broken Arrow will start accepting that September 1st. It's a 3-month pilot project.
Ooh.
And if the volumes are high enough, it will continue with Pratt. And so Pratt's supplying a baler for the paper, and they're just trying to increase the collection of those materials in this region.
Would you mind sharing that with Daniel so that he can share it with us?
Yeah, there will be a press release from the county that will go out, but I can also make sure Daniel gets a copy of that.
That would be great. And then my last question, then we're going to move on. Is there a web page specifically that you mentioned a web page? So I wanted to make sure we had that URL.
Yeah, it's just AlleganCounty.org, and then you're going to click the recycling link. It's kind of in the middle of
that's
the
easy.
page.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's
link.
multiple pages within that. And again, if anyone has any additional questions, my contact information is on the web page. You're welcome to reach out to me anytime with any additional questions, or if there's something you want me to provide individually or to the group, just let me know. I'll get that ballot language over, and I will also include, if it's all right, the packet. So there was an entire packet that went out to municipalities that were interested in voting on the recycling surcharge. So there's a lot of information in that packet as well.
That would be great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you. All right, have a good day.
All right, thank you.
What was that website again, Garn?
So it's AlleganCounty.org, and then the backslash, it's the recycling. You'll see it right on the main page. Sound
Okay.
good? All right, thanks for setting that up, Daniel. The glass one blows me away, but
Me too.
The look on your face was just precious.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. So anyway, we'll get back to that in a second. We also have joining us today my business partner, Elizabeth Estes, who's been patiently waiting. I'm going to make her a host. Do you want to have access to the screen, E?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me.
Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Elizabeth.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody.
Make a host. There we go.
Notice she
Okay.
didn't say her friend. I don't know what that's about.
Oh,
Yeah, I know
well,
that.
today it's all formal.
Oh,
Today
okay.
it's all
Sorry.
formal.
This is being recorded, you know.
Okay. She doesn't want to acknowledge that when other people can know she admitted it.
Oh yeah. Well, most everybody knows us here, so yeah, she's my
All right,
very
let
good,
me,
my very
hold
good friend. So
Okay, hold on.
while she's pulling that up, I think most of you had a chance to tootle around in the resident draft and then in the business draft. And then I also sent to you earlier today, kind of my draft proposal that I'm going to be presenting with anyone who's interested at the respective municipalities. And I'll get back to that when Elizabeth finishes up. So.
Can you guys see it? Is it up in front of you right now?
No,
Yeah.
but there's this, I don't see it. There's this beautiful rock.
Oh, hold on a minute. Then it's on the wrong screen. Sorry. Hold on a second.
It was up there.
Oh, it was. Okay. Hold on a second.
The survey, yeah.
That
It
rocks
did
how
for
my
a
head-
hot second, yeah.
That rocks how my head feels right now. So hold on. Let's try this again. There we go. There we go. You seeing it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So-
So go ahead, E.
Well, what happened was Garn called me and said, I need some help with SurveyMonkey. Can you help me for this recycling committee? And I said, sure. So again, I have no ego where this is concerned. If this isn't what you want or what you're looking for, I will say a couple things. You know, SurveyMonkey does this really cool thing, and we use this a lot for my agency. So we have kind of a corporate account to it, which gives us some cool tools. But one of the things is it ranks it and tells you if it's a good survey or a bad survey, how long it will take people to take it, so on and so forth. And that's usually based on an algorithm around the number of questions you have, the type of questions you have. It doesn't rank or rate the content of the questions. I try to play with those a little bit from an experience of doing a lot of different surveys here or there. Make it easy on people, make it about them and not about you and what you're asking. And then really think about every single one. Are you getting anything of value out of it? And so I say all that, and we can look at these questions and maybe there's some that you think are irrelevant or the way that they're asked is irrelevant, or perhaps you think there's a bunch that are missing. So whatever it is, I'll change it and edit it in any way that you think is necessary. I told Garn that I really think the best approach to this would be to put the business one out first and use Sadaba and the CVB and other people who have the business lists available and send it out via a link with an email from you guys saying what it is and why you're doing it. We had really great success using social specifically for businesses during the whole COVID Zoom stuff, but I think this is a little bit of a different dynamic and you need to make it compelling as to why it's valuable. What are you going to do for them with the results and what might you bring to them? And as it relates to the residents, you know, we can do the same thing. In this case, I didn't lock it down and force them to put their address or their zip code. You get a big bounce rate. I did ask for zip code and we're going to go on the honor system. Now we could create something where, sorry, apparently my dog doesn't like this right now. We could create something where we, Ollie, I know, where we make people confirm their residence, but I don't know how concerned you are about that. So having said all of that, does anybody have any questions kind of about the process that we went through? I'm more than happy to answer those.
So real quick, I'm just gonna, you all know that this is basically off the draft that Mark put together for us and that you all had a chance to chime in on. Then Elizabeth and I sat down yesterday and really, we were particularly interested in how long it takes, because generally the longer they are, the more likely you're going to have people drop off and not complete it. So we were pleased that it was really relatively quick, if you will, 6 minutes. We tootled around with some of the questions because they were a little redundant and didn't really get at, didn't really ask anything specifically and wouldn't really, they were just kind of fillers. So we took a little liberty and removed a few and changed the wording. So
Yeah, and there
with
were
that-
some that were, you have to be careful with leading ones. You're leading them to the answer you want. There were some that weren't, that I'm not sure was going to give you a lot of meat at the end of it. So again, we tweaked them. So do you want to just walk, you want me to just
Yep.
scroll down?
Go
and-
for it. Yeah.
So obviously, do you reside in Saugatuck City, City of Douglas, Saugatuck Township? Please provide your street. And I did that. I think we put that in there just so that we could, kind of what the last speaker just said about if they give the street and they do it, then they're probably for real. We might have some people fill this out that are, I don't know why they would do that. But you're always going to have a little bias with responses if you're not forcing them to give us their exact street address and their name and everything else. If you guys want to do that, that's completely up to you. True or false, I feel completely confident in my knowledge of how and what to recycle. That's a pretty open-ended general question, right? But I think you're going to get a really good sense here. Now, we could make that a ranking on a scale of 1 to 10. I feel this confident, which might give you a little more granular information. Sometimes those are, and that'll give you, what that would give you is a mean. So if we had 500 people respond, we would have the average number of people in the confidence level. So I'm willing, if you want to change that to something like that, that's an easy fix and we can make that happen.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
excuse me for a minute. Can I ask why you used true and false versus yes and no?
There is no real scientific reason. I just feel,
Okay.
it was either yes, I feel confident, or no, I don't. If we can go back to yes or no, Linda, if you feel that that's better.
I was just wondering why.
In this case, as I look at it, I wonder if we should consider a sliding ranking scale, because then I think we might get a more granular response. But we can, we'd know in this case either yes or no or true or false. We would get a percentage. So 70% said true, 30% said false. But it's up to you guys.
Okay. All right.
It's Rana, can I just weigh in on that real quick? I would have preferred to have had that be a ranking only because first of all, I know too much. So that's a problem. But I felt like it was hard for me to say completely. And I would like that to be a sliding one. I feel like it would kind of give us a sense of more so, it's not so absolute. So I'll just throw.
Rana, would
She's
you
gonna
make it?
do it right now.
Well, yeah, let's fix it. Rana, would you make it 1 to 5, 1 to 10? What are you thinking?
Not more than 5, I wouldn't think.
Okay, actually, I got to do this in a little bit because I have to change it. Not more than 5, and 1 would be not at all. 5 would be extremely, and in the middle would be somewhat. Is that what you're thinking?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know how everybody else feels about that, but for me, it feels like that would have.
I feel the same way, Rana.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
change it, guys.
Sounds good. Okay.
So I think that's good too. And further on there were rankings questions, but I didn't know if my 1 was, the top number or the 6 was the top level number. So
Yeah.
can there
Understood.
be a little?
Yeah.
We'll
add
fix
to-
that. Dimitri, when we get to that, remind me and we'll make those changes, okay?
Okay, so would it be apparent on this one as well, the question number 3?
So yeah, it'll be 1 to 5, or maybe 5 to 1, and 1 is not confident or not confident. 5
perfect.
is extremely confident, and then somewhere in between.
Yeah, so I just would need to understand the direction.
Yeah, I'll show that.
Yeah.
It'll lay it out underneath it when you see the 1
Perfect.
to 5. The other ranking was, to your point, the other ranking should have said rank from highest to lowest. This one is a sliding scale ranking. So
Okay.
it'll actually lay out underneath it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Who is your current trash provider? That's pretty easy. Does your trash provider also provide recycling? I think that's pretty, I don't know what we get from that completely, but I guess.
Well, some folks don't know, and that's why we included it.
Yep.
Some folks just don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for this question, I don't know what's exactly bothering me about it, but I do know that I feel like some people, we might get some false feedback on it because some people might be assuming, and I think we get into it a little later with the yellow bags, some people might be assuming that their yellow bags constitute recycling, and they're going to respond, yes, but that's actually going to not help us. It's going to give us false feedback. So I don't know how we can edit that question to take that into account. Or we should just get rid of it, because we do know that all of them do provide recycling. The only the only one that actually works is the cart method. So that's what, like, I don't even know if we actually need it, because we already know the answer. They all provide it. It's whether or not you opt into it.
So
maybe we can ask, have you opted into your, maybe that should be the question. Have you opted into your waste haulers recycling cart program? Yes or no? Because then we'll know if they have recycling or not.
Is that everybody good with that?
Yeah.
If I change it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Say it again, Daniel.
Have you opted into your waste haulers recycling cart service?
We can play with these later, but
Yep.
Recycling, why can't I spell?
You've been working on that Gantt chart.
Yeah, my eyes are bugging out right now. So let's look. Should we take the not sure off? Because that's pretty much a yes or no, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
That's a yes or no. Yeah.
Yes or no, yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Boom. Just like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So the other thing, Daniel, we could move number 9 up after number 5. Have you opted in? Yes or no? And then what type of recycling container do you use?
Yeah. Sounds
Maybe that
good.
should be moved up after that.
We could do that, yeah.
Okay. Uh-oh. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. This is fun for everybody to see.
Yeah.
There you go. So who is it? Have you opted in? Oops, I thought I put it. Where did I put it?
It's still down there.
No, I lost it.
Uh-oh.
I think it was still at number 9. I think I saw it.
No?
How much confidence?
Here it is, number 10. Here it is. Move. After number 5. Move question. There it is. So now it's, have you
There you
opted
go.
into your waste haulers recycling cart service? What type of recycling container do you use? The funny part about this, you guys, is I said to Garn, well, we recycle, because we're in the township, we use those yellow bags. And Garn looked at me like I was an idiot. Like
I
you
got
know,
to educate my first person. I'm like, no,
Yay.
no.
He keeps throwing us the yellow bags. I don't know what to tell you. Are you satisfied with the current recycling procedures in place? Anybody have a comment on that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. How passionate are you? I don't know if these are the right options, but
okay.
I thought those options were great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. If I could, I would recycle. This is going to find your naysayers pretty quickly.
I'm wondering if we could move the question that asks about what they recycle somewhere in the area of how often they want to recycle, because I feel like a lot of people are throwing things out that you can't actually recycle, and it's leading them to think that they need recycling services more often than they may actually need them. Because you hear a lot of people say, I have more recycling than garbage. But a lot of those things that they're trying to recycle are not actually recyclable. So then it raises the question, do you have enough recyclable items that requires this kind of frequency?
So do you want it after number 8?
I almost think what they recycle should go before how often they want recycling services.
So after number 8.
Because then we get an idea if they're recycling things that can't actually be recycled.
How's that?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
If I could, I would recycle here. How much confidence do you have? You know, I don't know. Is that complete enough, you guys?
Yeah, Ian had quite a conversation about this, just based on this committee's discussions for the last couple of months, and where all of us are, I think. And not having a lot of confidence that things are actually being recycled. I'm curious if that is, beyond us.
Well,
I thought that was a great question, and that is actually one that I would be very interested to see the response on.
okay.
Right?
And I thought the
Great.
way it's worded is great.
Okay.
All right. Keep
And
going.
then, let me see. This is the one, Dimitri, you said you think I need to fix this one. I need to write it differently. Please rank which you believe is the most important to the least important.
And one being the most important. Is that how you would do it? And that
You give them the starting point.
yeah, most important.
One
I
is
can
the-
reword that. I can make that more precise, but that's basically what you're asking for, right?
Right.
So
I'm just going to say beggars can't be choosers. We appreciate all you're doing.
No. I
Absolutely.
told you, I
Absolutely.
have no ego with this, you guys. It's totally fine. I'm happy to help. Do you compost? I can't wait to see the answer to this one.
Yeah.
Um,
If Ken is Ken Freestone still on? This is kind of going to our.
Yeah.
We've been patiently waiting for the Eagle person to kind of get back around to us because it would be great to be armed with a little bit of data saying we got some folks that do compost or are interested in composting.
Yeah, I'm still on and I'm listening to that. And yes, there's also a couple of people that are in the midst of a feasibility study right now for composting in the area. So increasing it considerably. So yes, interested in that.
Great, cool.
is there anything that we should put in there that dives deeper into that, Ken? Do you compost? If it was available, would you use it? I mean, is there anything that?
Yeah, maybe something like, do you compost at home or, on your property, or do you have a composting service that picks up? So
that's a
you
good
might
one.
look at one of those two ways.
Okay, hang on. That one might take, I have to create logic with that one, so it might take me long to do it all in front of you, and I don't want to embarrass myself. A home or composting service. Okay.
So could it be simply as if yes,
Yes,
how?
it is.
And yeah,
Yeah.
if yes, how?
It is. That's exactly what it is, Garn, but that takes me a little longer because I have to do some logic with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
we don't
come
want to
on.
see that messy process of you thinking in front of us like that.
No,
right?
if you
It's like,
think compost is a mess, you ought to watch me do that. That wouldn't be good. If a compost site was available, would you use it? Yes, no, not sure. I mean, I think that's pretty, nothing. And I put a comment in there because I thought, well, maybe we'll get some verbatims. A lot of times when you put comments in, you get verbatims, and then I'll do a word cloud, and words will pop up, and you can kind of sense a little bit of the sentiment. And that's always, for me, kind of an anecdotal, interesting bit. Would you support the elimination of, Garn and I really had a hard, long conversation about this, because the question I think that was written, and I understand it completely, but the question was, would you support the elimination of non-recyclable bags or carry out one-time use takeout things? And I was like, Garn, I own a restaurant. I'm going to have a heart attack if you make me put that in there, because I don't have a choice right now. It's the only way.
Her head about blew off. Yeah.
I did. I go, we can't say that like that. The business restaurant owners are going to kill us. Non-recyclable plastic containers or utensils, absolutely. And I totally support that. But by saying one-time use recyclable containers, you'll have every restaurant owner in town coming after you.
Yeah, so where we got to compromise, you all, was the addition of the comments. Because for those of us who've been paying attention, there have been some communities, I'm not sure in Michigan, but certainly on either coast, that have gone towards totally eliminating all this. So I'll be curious to see what folks' comments around this are. I've had some of our neighbors here who are in Florida over the winter. It's like, we need to get to this here in Saugatuck Douglas, just eliminate all this. It's easier said than done.
Well, having come from California, I mean, I don't know when we eliminated the plastic bags, but, everyone just has their bag that they bring into the grocery store and get it stocked, and you wash them every now and then, and it's good.
I believe, I'm totally for that. I just don't know how you would facilitate in a COVID world where everyone's doing takeout. And then I said to Garn, okay, so let's pretend that we use only, part of the problem with, and I know both municipalities, Douglas, and I know Kathy North's on here, and I know Barry and Garner on here, Saugatuck and Douglas are dealing with this. They have a huge problem with extra trash because people are carrying out and they're throwing it away.
Yeah.
And I get that. But unless you're going to put recyclable containers up there, and I said, you know, one of a cool idea for you guys, and this is for another meeting that you won't invite me to because I keep giving you ideas, is, you know, could we create a bulk buying for the restaurants in town? Could we create a bulk buying service so that we could all buy recyclable materials together? We all use the same thing. And then the town could say, look, we support this, and it helped our restaurants be able to buy all together. Because I can tell you, as we're looking for Isabel's right now, the recyclable things are exponentially more expensive. We're going to do it because it's the right thing to do, but it isn't an insignificant investment on a restaurant standpoint to do recyclable for what that's worth. So you
little
guys,
little plug for Isabel's.
Are you guys good with the way this is written?
For question 50, for the question that we're on, can you add in the word styrofoam? So if it said, would you, I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but would you support the elimination of non-recyclable plastic bags, comma, styrofoam? Because I think that's another, when I'm picking
It is
up.
a big one, yeah.
When I pick up
Is that
things
how
on
you
the
spell that?
phone,
Styrofoam, yeah.
it's one of my least favorites.
Yeah, I agree with that, Ronna.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Okay, all right, keep going.
Are you interested in receiving educational materials regarding recycling and composting? I thought this wasn't included in the first one, but I think, or maybe it was, but I think what we tried to do is just give us your email. This helps you guys, because it would be really cool if you could create your own database list for those who are passionate about this, because they'll help you spread the word and talk about it. And then if municipalities were to provide educational materials, and Dimitri, same thing here. I know exactly what you're going to tell me. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's a good catch. I love that.
Please rank the options below with one. Well, this one is a different ranking, isn't it? Oh no, I guess.
No. Your most, one being the most.
I'll reward this.
Okay.
I'll get it done.
Thanks, E.
And then, do you have any other recycling comments you'd like to share with the committee? And again, you'll get the verbatims in a word cloud on this. So, is there anything major missing?
I thought it was.
Thank you, Shauna.
In light of Rosemary's appearance today, this is something that I'm interested in because the township does not have a contract for recycling. Everybody has to contract independently with a waste hauler. I would be interested in seeing a question like, how interested would you be in your municipality pursuing opportunities with the Allegan County Resource Recovery and Recycling Program for recycling and household hazardous waste removal services?
And that would be specific for township residents.
It partly would, but it partly would be for the cities too, because you can also, as this, I have two ideas for this. For the cities, it might be easy for you all to pursue, or us as a collective to pursue, collection opportunities for household hazardous waste through the county. And then I know that a lot of people in the cities continue to complain about Republic. I think Rosemary made an excellent point about going forward in the future. When you are reviewing your contract, you now realize that you have an opportunity to contract with the county and then get somebody who would be dedicated to handling complaints about recycling on your side. So I'm kind of seeing it as, it is right now immediately for the township, but it also extends to the cities as well. So then you'll get an idea, well, maybe residents going forward in the future, maybe we shouldn't contract with Republic outright. Maybe it's better to contract with the county and then have a dedicated director. So that's just how my mind's working.
So it's a little, I get what you're asking. You're going to have to type out that question for me because I can't write that fast. But it's also a little inside baseball, right? Because you know a lot. Like if I saw that question, I'm not sure I would know exactly what that meant. The value of that question could be in the comment section, because you're going to find out somebody's going to go, I hate Republic, or or I don't think they're recycling, or the real value of that question will be, what's said around it, because I don't
Okay.
know if I saw that question as just a consumer, I don't think I'd know what it meant.
Yeah, and along, kind of tagging along with that, Daniel, maybe that's, part of the, I added the one about this, would you like to provide educational materials? Because that's really kind of our main purpose. We could use that opportunity to enlighten residents of the other options that are out there when our respective municipalities, like the city of Douglas and the city of Saugatuck, come up for contract renewal. So that, I think we wait to see what the comments what they say, and then take advantage of the opportunity to educate.
Do you
over the
think
next.
I think that what you're saying sounds right, that we can figure out if there would be interest in it. But do you think that we should add a question about interest in household hazardous waste pickup dates?
Yeah.
Like we can just say, would you participate if your municipality held a household hazardous waste,
Yeah, that's a
pickup
good one.
event?
Yeah, because right now we
Yeah.
don't have that, do we? I know Kirk's on and
No.
Barry's on. I don't think we have that.
Well, we could have it. The issue really is going to be is who's going to pay for it.
Right.
So, and again, with all these surveys and these questions, I think a good question is to ask people, because what I hear it a lot is people want things, but then when you ask them if they want to pay for it, they say, well, no, I don't. So we've talked to people before about the household hazards. We could do that right now. And we could pull it out of the general fund if the council wanted to do that. Or if people were willing to bring their stuff in and pay a nominal fee to dispose of their material that they purchased and that they want to recycle. But what we're finding is a lot of times, and that's always a good question to ask, is do you want a service and are you willing to pay for it? I'd like to know that answer, because if people are willing to pay for stuff, and I think a lot of people in this community do want to recycle, and they understand that some of that burden is on them, and they would say, yeah, I'd be happy taking my stuff in and paying $10 to make sure that it's disposed of properly. But
What if we wrote it in a way, Kirk, that said, it's a hard question, right? Because if you say, what would you be willing to pay if your municipality created this? $0 or $5, $10, they're all going to pick $5, like, how important it is. So I'd have to think about that, but we could create a question that asks that in a way that gets a range of how important they feel it is based on what they'd pay. I just need to think about how we can word it, because people's going to go $5.
Could we do it on a sliding scale? I mean, we know not with a 0, but I think
well, we need to know that.
well, what is the lowest rate right now that folks are being charged for that? And that's the low option. And then a sliding scale up to what could be the most expensive, and let them pick the range in between. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, somebody needs to give me that data.
well, and then what about this? I mean, if somebody, would this be a valid question if you asked someone, if you had household hazardous waste, would you be willing to, or be open to pay to have that recycled? Again, I'm not trying to give the verbiage, but you know what the question is asking is, and what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that they're cognizant about this, and they said, yes, if I had the ability to take my stuff somewhere, I would pay a fee to have that recycled. I don't know how to put that in. I'm not an expert survey writer, but I don't know how to put that into language, but it'd be interesting to know if, I would think, at least in the city of Saugatuck, a lot of people would say, yes, I would be willing to contribute to have that paid for, but I don't know how to word that.
Let me play with that, because if you have a household waste, the easiest is yes or no, I'd pay, but somebody's going to say depends, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if we say if yes, what would you pay? We could leave it open-ended and let people fill in the blank.
True.
I think one of the cautions with that is that people then might have an expectation for what it might be charged, and then you come back with a price and it's like, well, no, I said I'd pay $5 and you're charging me $20. So, I think that yes or no, and would you be willing to pay, and kind of leave it open, because there's going to be a fee in it and it's not going to be that much, but I think that might be a little better way.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think the landscape around recycling and everything just changes so much.
All the time, yeah.
People, so if we hone in on a particular range, that might not be available, just like what Ken just said.
I have a lot of people that I'm conversing with on the Nextdoor app right now about the City of Holland's recycling program coming up. And even people are griping about the $2 more it's going to cost and the big cart they're going to get. And it's like, really, it's $2 more, and they think it should be free. And, so it's even a small fee seems like a lot to some people. So I think be careful of the dollar amount in that.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Great.
Hang on, somebody's trying to talk here. Sorry, there you go. I don't think I can't hear him.
Is there some way we can use this to determine bins of people? I mean, there are always people who are complaining about paying $2 for something. And I have a serious question in our communities, if that's a big percentage of the people. I mean, you have these bins, there are people who will pay basically any reasonable fee to take care of to recycle their waste and take care of their hazardous waste and that kind of thing. And I'd like to know, maybe we'd like to know how big a percentage, how many people are like that. And then there are people who would pay a little less. And then there are the people who, regardless of what it is, they don't want to pay for it. And I have a sneaking suspicion that there are more people in the middle and are willing to pay to get it done because of their attitudes. The I won't pay anything people are always the noisiest. We had that in the township with the minority of the people really raising hell over the single hauler. So is there some way we can kind of get a sense of where the community is with that?
We had some, it's interesting you said that, Patrick, because we had some questions in there and we had lots of debates about the cost and how we worded it. I can think that through. It's
yeah.
That's a difficult one because I wouldn't know the ranges. If you guys could give me those numbers, I could probably populate a question and then let you see it.
Well, maybe we don't have to put dollars on it. Maybe it's a narrative choice, several narrative choices.
Well, and some of this is, we have the how passionate are you on number 8 where it says extremely, but that, to your point, you can be extremely passionate, but then is there a value and will you spend the money to do it, right? And I think that would be an interesting, let me think about that.
Well, the other thing with that is that the hazardous waste is also generally not like a weekly pickup, like your normal recycling would be, or it's usually once a year or twice a year, there's a drop-off site or, so it's kind of hard you can't really call it recycling in the same way that you'd be doing your weekly plastic and bottles or, glass containers. So there is a difference there. So and people don't separate that in their, so to speak, in their mind, but they think of it just as one service. So I think that maybe some wording of thinking about, is it once a year, twice a year, something like that.
Okay.
All right.
One other question I have that we could add, and maybe I'm going to look at the, municipal officials on the phone on this one, but is it important to ask? So we have one question where if you want to get education, we're getting their email. And then, the only reason to get that email is if your committee's going to do something with it. So if you're going to build a database of that so that you can reach out to them in some way with education. But would you be interested in being alerted when your municipality's contract is up? Now, you guys might go, no, because we're going to have 5 million people at the meeting. On the other hand, it is another way to get an email address that could be kind of valuable. So I'm going to leave that to you to tell me if you want something like that added.
Well, the only issue for at least the city of Saugatuck is our email addresses. I don't keep those or maintain them. It's done through a independent service. So I'd love to I'd like it, if people want to be notified, I'd like them to know that the contract's coming open because then they can participate in the meetings. But we just have them sign up on our website through their own initiative, but we don't take the, I can't put their email in because it won't let me put their email in.
No, I wouldn't ask you to, Kirk. What I would do is, this would be one of the questions. Would you be interested in being told when your municipality's whatever is up? If so, sign up. And then these guys, this committee would have that database and they could let them know. So you wouldn't even have to touch it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd like to get them signed up into our database so that we could they could be notified stuff. But yeah, that's great. As long as it's understand that I don't have any way to enter them into our database.
No, I mean, and then, you know, the committee could decide to share both of the databases for Douglas, all three, I'm assuming Township Douglas, and say, if you want to sign up to get alerted on the city, here's the municipalities.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. And we can give them the link to it, and then they can go and enter their stuff in there.
Okay, so
Good
right
idea.
now I have add the hazardous waste question, consider a template or a question about cost carefully. And then would you be interested in being told when your municipality's contract is up? Those are the 3 questions right now that I have that I need to add in some way, right?
Yeah. And yeah, any longer than that and we're going to lose people.
Yeah,
So.
I think it's the right length. I mean, it was 6 minutes, but it said an average, it was like 8, I think, what it took the people who had already taken it. If you look at analyze my results.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
number
This
one.
is fun. Y'all got to see this. It's cool.
I'm a data geek, you know, I've always been a data geek. So I love seeing this. And so, you know, we only had you guys do this, right? Because we locked it down. I know that Cider Hill Lane. I know who that was. So, you know, if you look at the numbers and then you figure out how long it take them and insights and data trends. So this is the value of these. And this is what we learned a lot of, quite frankly, when we did the stuff for the COVID.
Oh, cool.
Okay, and then real quick on the business one, I know Rana, you had a question about takeoff.
Oh, hold on, let me go
Yeah,
to it.
sorry, I'm moving
Sorry.
fast.
Business, hold on. You still seeing?
Yeah, I see a
Elizabeth?
blank screen.
Just one last thing. I think that last question about would you like to know when the contract might be up? That could go after the question of how passionate are you about blah, blah, about just as a little.
Yeah. When the contract is up.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll move it
Thanks.
there.
Okay.
This one, you know, I feel like I'll be honest, I felt like Garn, we had beaten it up for an hour and a half by the time we got to this. And I feel like we kind of gave this a little short time to do this one right. This one, I think is, honestly, as a business owner, I wish I should have, this one probably needs a little more work.
And that's fine. What we wanted to be sure is that the business owners were not left out of this, because they are, you know, the message that I've gotten loud and clear from them, and then now, of course, our own experiences with Isabel's, is you're kind of on your own, and there is an interest to somehow get to collaborate together on a contract as businesses. And I think if we could gather enough information to help make that point, we might be able to help a lot of our colleagues along. If that makes any sense.
I'll fix some of the issues with these questions with the ranking. Dimitri pointed out, and she's right.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that this is consistent with the other one.
Yeah, Rana had the question with the library. Take the local library out right there.
Take it out.
Yeah, Rana.
Yep. I just thought instead of the local library, it would have been like the
CVB.
Yep.
CVB or Sadaba.
Like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Great.
The other thing, I think the most valuable question on here, honestly, is this one. Do you recycle for your business currently? If no, what's the main reason?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, the hard part of that question is most people, and I'll tell you from the Coast perspective, it's probably time, right?
Yeah.
It's time. And that's not an excuse, but that's going to be a lot of it. Or is it money? Is it, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't know. So this one I think is a really important question, because maybe there is something we can do as collective businesses together to, you know, to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I can change this to match with the other one. I will ask about the hazardous waste, because I think that's an important question to ask the businesses.
Mm-hmm.
The cost question, I got to think that through. I don't really know how the best way is to position that.
Yeah, go for a bike ride and see if that helps.
Daniel, your hand raised. Yeah,
What-
that really helps me. I bike ride.
I just had a thought about, because I know working at Phil's, I mean, we potentially, and we do recycle one of these things, but we potentially could recycle a lot of glass, a lot of cardboard, and a lot of aluminum cans. I'm wondering if there could be a specific question about what items do you most frequently or could you most frequently recycle? Because then we get an idea of like the entire landscape. Like, yeah, Phil's could, recycle a lot of different things, but what do we go through the most? Cardboard, aluminum cans, glass. So I wonder if we could get like a landscape of all the businesses downtown to see if there's like any overlaps or any trends. Especially, I mean, this whole enterprise that Rosemary was talking about between Broken Arrow and Pratt and cardboard recycling that's specifically directed towards businesses. I don't know if that's, potentially important or interesting information to have like moving forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. I also think we need a question about what type of business are you? Retail, restaurant, or bar?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, we should I'll add that in. Put that one in. Okay.
Good.
I can make these changes today and then you guys can decide. Garin, you've got the schedule. I'll quit sharing it. If anybody else wants to.
Yeah, hand it back over to me, and then I'll real quickly share the screen with you all, and then we'll try to draw this to a close. Does everybody see that?
Nope.
Everybody see that? No? Uh-oh.
While you're doing that, can I throw something in real quick?
Yeah.
I wondered if there could be a question for the business one, asking if they currently use recyclable or compostable single-use items, just so you can kind of.
Yeah.
I also wondered, based on your question, Elizabeth, if they would be interested in a group buy for all the restaurant. Actually, the store owners also, if they got rid of their plastic bags and they went to the paper handbags or something.
I'm going to ask that. That's a great one, Ronna.
Okay.
I think you're going to have people say yes. I mean, to everybody's point, I think most people would do it. I do think most people would do it. So but it is significantly more expensive to do it. But I think
It is. You're still the host.
Oh.
So, like, why is this not working?
There, go Garn. No?
On the subject of cost of bags and containers for retail outfits, it seems to me that we can uniquely perhaps get together with a cross-section of merchants and find out really what the per purchase cost of a bag is, per purchase cost of a food order, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then make up our minds, okay, as a community, can we charge a tax for that as part of a promotion for the community being a renewable community? And is it really that significant a cost that it would have an effect? So that essentially we hold harmless the merchants for something that is good for the community to do. And I know nothing about this, but I wonder what the transaction cost for a bag is as a total for the purchase. I wonder how high that is. I know the bags are more expensive and it adds up, but would it add up if it were taxed? Do they see a 10 cent or a 5 cent increase in a purchase, or in a $10 food purchase? Do they see a 10 cents or 20 cents or 3 cents? I think we could get this into perspective and figure out what we're talking about, and then put our heads together and figure out how we could do it as a community without hurting the merchants. Because I don't think the merchants should be hurt.
Go ahead, E. Sorry.
In some places, and in Europe, before life turned to this, I was in Europe more than I was in the US last year. And, in some places they charge you for a bag. if you don't
Yeah.
bring in your own. Now, COVID's changed that because you can't use your own bags. You can't walk in. You're not supposed to, right? Because they don't know what you're carrying in. But if we're talking about a post-COVID world, if you don't have your own bag in Europe, they charge you 10 cents, 15 cents a bag, I think, or 20 cents a bag. Just as a, an example of that. Yeah, I don't know the answer. I can get you pricing because we do it. So that we can find easy.
Well, the other option might be, and Daniel, I'm going to put this on you to go back and visit with Rosemary and see if you can get this language from her, because I was writing furiously as she was talking, specifically about municipalities placing a recycling option on the ballot to add $50 to each household in their tax bill. I'd be curious what that looks like, how it was written, and if that might be something that I think we should then noodle over it, and maybe that's ultimately something that we propose, which then helps everybody. Going back to your comments, Patrick, if we just place it on the ballot and make recycling a true focus. So
at the risk of seeming calloused, we all pay layers and layers and layers of taxes that we never pay any attention to. And I'm just not all too sure that this would be the kind of significant item that would make a tourist or a resident, raise their eyebrows when they walk out of a store with a bag, if it's just built into the price.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a discussion for another time, because I can hear some of the business owners. I can hear it already. So let's save that. Remind me not to forget that. And in the interest of time, I'm going to move us on. I'm going to thank Elizabeth first for her time. I know she's got 1,000 things to do. So thank you so much, E.
You're welcome, everybody.
And
thanks for what you guys are doing. Thank you guys for what you're doing. It's important. I'll hop off, Darn, and let you do that.
All right.
I'll fix this.
All right, E. See you later.
Bye, guys.
All right.